before moving on to the next segment, in which we shall be analyzing the merits of the two options Rashi provides in his commentary to the Ani Hashem Elokeichem. A quick review is in place. We began by rejecting the inclusion of the Ani Hashem Elokeichem as an introduction as to the source of the about to be introduced arayot restrictions, on the basis that as of the middle of Vayikra such an introduction was unnecessary. We also looked at and rejected the Ani Hashem Elokeichem as a statement of accountability with respect to those arayot laws. This was based on the fact that the statement of accountability should follow the obligation, whereas over here it precedes the obligations, and therefore Rashi suggests in his commentary that the Ani Hashem Elokeichem is a standalone statement linked to the Aseret HaDibrot, that just as at Har Sinai the Bnei Israel accepted God's sovereignty, Miata Kiblu Gzerotai. A request is now being made that they should also accept a subset of mitzvot, the Gzerot, such as the arayot laws that were to follow. Underpinning this commentary was a position that the Gzerot differed from the mitzvot in general, the Eidut, Chukim and Mishpatim, and hence when Bnei Israel accepted God's Malchut, it included the mitzvot in general, but not the Gzerot. The distinction between the Gzerot and the mitzvot in general lay in the fact that they were about to receive a set of laws that flew in the face of their experiences up until this point in time, on two counts. Firstly, earlier generations had no qualms about having their children marry within the clan, within the family, which included many of the relationships that were about to be prohibited through the arayot laws. And secondly, yichus, the preservation of identity, wealth, etc., could be better controlled if marriage partners remained within the clan and the family. And therefore, it was argued that when the people said Na'aseh v'nishma, that commitment may not necessarily have extended to the Gzerot, and hence the need for the Ani Hashem Elokeichem requesting that the people add the Gzerot to the commitment of Na'aseh v'nishma. As with all positions predicated on assumption, there is also the flip side, and on account of the flip side that will highlight the shortcomings of the first option, Rashi therefore is forced to introduce a second option. The problem with option 1 is that it is based upon a premise that the Gzerot would be deemed by the people as a category unto itself, and therefore we have the Ani Hashem Elokeichem. This assumption is speculative, and we could just as easily argue that when Bnei Israel said Na'aseh v'nishma, that commitment incorporated all future demands from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether they be in the Eidut category, the Chukim category, the Mishpatim category, and even the Gzerot. Yes, true, there might be issues of mixed messages, changes in policy, but in theory, if they have accepted the Chukim, then that would bind them also to the Gzerot, despite their misgivings on account of their inconsistencies. A second line of thinking is that at Matan Torah, when they said Na'aseh v'nishma, the nation moved from an acceptance of a set of 7 commandments, the mitzvot de B'nai Noach, to a set of Tariag. And in pre-Matan Torah days, true, there was a priority, as now, to marry within the clan, endogamy, but there was, even then, a concept of arayot laws within the non-Jewish societies. So therefore the concept of arayot, a prohibition against marrying blood relatives such as father, daughter, mother, son, brother, sister, had already been instituted within society as a whole. There were exceptions to the rule, such as we pointed out earlier with respect to the Egyptian kings, but as a general rule it could be argued that marrying level 1 bloodlines was not the norm. And therefore the introduction of the arayot laws merely expanded the list of prohibited incestual relationships. For both of these reasons, therefore, we would need to reject option 1, that with the Ani Hashem Elokeichem, God is making a specific request that just as the people had accepted Kabbalat Mitzvot at Har Sinai, so too they should now accept God's Gzerot.